Hi, it's Sue Stockdale, your host for the Sports 2000 podcast. This series takes you behind the scenes of this British sports car prototype series that gives drivers the chance to compete at some of the UK and Europe's finest circuits. I talk to some of the people involved in making this series happen, the drivers, the sponsors and the champions, to give you an insight into why this is sometimes called motorsport's best kept secret. Today we're in location with our guest, and I say we because there's myself and another Sports 2000 driver, Clive Steeper, and we're here to have a conversation with Peter Williams in his farmhouse kitchen. Hello, Peter.
Hello.
Now, I know you and Clive have just been talking about your history of cars, Peter, and how you got into racing.
Yeah.
How did that start?
I was on holiday, funny enough, down in Tenby, and we seen grass racing. That's when I started then. I managed to find that one of the boys was local and he was going to the club as well, to Cumdee, and that's how I started then. So it's 20 years doing grass racing. So.
How many years up? Because if I remember correctly, you started working on cars when you were not even a teenager. So.
Oh no, I was about 11 when I started. Yeah. Well, I always used to repair cars and race them around the back of the garage. Because we used to have a field, so it was...
So you were one of the original drifters before the Japanese got to it?
Virtually, yeah, we used to stick engines in anything. Yeah, if they didn't go, we'd swap it and put something else. Yeah, old Ford Popular. Yeah, we used to have one of them. We used to weld the wheels together at the back so it'd make it wider at the back. Then we took a side valve engine out and put a 997 in and stuff like that. It was just, yeah.
So there's not much in the history of Formula One that you weren't trying before they did it?
Not really. Yeah, it was good, it was.
And how did you get into Sports 2000 then, Peter?
That was Clive Ailes, his fault it is.
What did he do?
Yeah, well, what it was, years ago, after I gave up grass, I went hill climbing sprinter. Well, we was off to Highland, the first meeting for the Welsh Championship, and Clive and Cindy was on the same boat as I was. And then we talked all the way over to Highland, and that's how we met. And that's how we stuck together, really, because he went into the Welsh Sports and Saloon Championship, so I followed him into that. And then he started the MCRs, and I followed him into Sports 2000. So that's how we've sort of carried on, really. That's how it started.
I guess in one sense it was a smaller community of motor racing people in Wales compared to many of the people who were listening.
Yeah, it's surprising how many the Welsh had, like. We always used to race at Pembrey. You get fed up with one circuit. I do anyway, and I just like to go round the other circuits. Yeah. And they used to have one away, but that was about it, whole season. But I did do the Dunlop Super Sports with the Radical man. I was doing the 2 championships then at one time, and that was good. Yeah, it was all right then.
And if you compare something like the Radicals, which are fairly modern in some people's eyes technology, to your grass racing car, the best one that you had was it the DAF 100 that you had with it?
The 100A, yeah, Datsun, yeah.
And what engine was in the back of that?
3 litre, 3.5 V8.
So how does that compare, driving that hybrid, if you like, compared to the Radical?
Oh, the Radical's totally, it's power-wise, isn't it? It's a motorbike engine, it revs to 10.2, and it's so different, isn't it? But like the V8 used to rev to about, 5,000 or 6,000 revs, that was it, like. But it used to pull, and that's the difference, like. But like, Radford track up at Worcester, like, the Nationals there one year, and they had a speed gun on us. We're doing 80 mile an hour down straight then, and it's not a very big straight. So you imagine
acceleration. Yeah.
It's fairly quick racing, like. Yeah. And they reckon they're quicker now, but I don't know about that.
So when you're racing on the circuits, do you ever get tempted to put more than 2 wheels on the grass just to?
Well, I have been on the grass a few times, like when somebody's.
No names.
That's why I'm so good in the wet as well, because I don't mind the back end stick, you know. Yeah. A lot of people, once the back end goes, they spin around, you see, so they
lift off. Yes.
But still like to have grip on the wet.
Yeah.
If I got grip on the tyres and they grip it well, I'm quick. But if they don't grip, it's not very nice then. Yeah. But yeah, it's good fun.
And what is it that you enjoy about it? Is it the racing element? Is it the speed? What particularly makes it appealing for you, Peter?
The racing really is. And we race with Mike and and Roger and all that, and we're quite a nice little group, and we seem to be quite quick with each of us, and it's just a nice little group. Like, we're not winning a complete race, but we got our own little battle, like, and it's quite good. We've had some good racing, me and Mike and stuff, and Roger, and it's just like sort of racing, and it gets you away, I find.
You say it gets you away, and here we are sitting in Wales in your wonderful farm. Who would want to leave this place, I must say?
Well, we do leave it now and again, like.
So your other hat is being a farmer. Tell us what that's all about.
Well, it's just mainly cows, really, I used to have 2 Jersey cows, like. I used to milk them, separate the milk from the cream, make butter and everything years ago. But, like, I clean carpets now, so that was too busy. Like, you're getting up at 6 in the morning, milk the cows, do all the separating and everything, and it's a lot of work then. So I sold them and just kept the beef cattle there. And they're a lot easier, you just feed them and leave them.
So you can get away from here in terms of racing, and there's not the commitment to always be here for the animals?
I got to get somebody to look after them, Yeah, they just come up and feed them. But it varies in the summer, they're out in the field, so there's not really so much to do, really. Like I got, 1 chicken now. And some ducks. That's about it, really. And a dog I used to have. But otherwise, it's only my brother normally comes up, or my son, and they'll just feed the animals or whatever and go there. So it's not that bad, really.
And one of the things that I've asked many of our other guests on the podcast is, what is their favourite circuit to race at? What would be your answer to that question?
Well, there's a couple, really. I like Spa. Spa is brilliant. It is. And Brands GP circuit. I don't like the Indy circuit. It's just, but this Grand Prix circuit at the back is brilliant. It is so quick. Those are 2 really, I would have thought.
And if there was a circuit that you would love to race at in the world that you haven't yet been to, what appeals to you?
Oh, I don't know. I've done a fair few. That's the trouble. I don't know, really. Just don't know.
I think you would have loved the old Zeltweg circuit in Austria. That's
Austria.
very fast and really
I've never
quick
done
sections
that one, but
for through the corners. The Bosch curve and things, you would have liked those.
Yeah, watch the Formula 1 and stuff, but I don't know which. We've done Spa and we've done Hockenheim, which is the Grand Prix. We've done Zandvoort.
Yeah, in Dijon, we hope to do Dijon this year again, don't we?
Yeah, well, I've done that before.
Yeah. Did you do that one when it was raining?
I can't remember.
The last time we went, it absolutely...
I did have the left-hand drive car then. Can't think, was it wet or not, but...
It was. Well, it was certainly the last time I raced.
Yeah, well, I went... Well, I sold the business, and Clive was going over there then, and we went over with the camper, but we spent a week over there, so we went off down around Dijon and all sorts, Lyon and round for a week, and then come back to the racing there.
Right.
So that was the first time I've been there, and then we went a few years after, I think. So it's quite a nice circuit. It'd be nice to run this newer car down there to see what it's like.
And how do you prepare your car, Peter? I've asked a number of the other guests about whether they do it themselves or whether they have someone else that prepares it. How does it work for you?
If there's nothing wrong, I don't touch it. But if there's anything wrong, I normally take it down to Clive, and he'll just do it, set it up for me, and that's it. It's ready for the season. But this year I don't think I'll bother, because it's all right from last year, so I won't. If it's not broken, don't fix it. But all these people, you see them stripping all their cars down, and you think, well, why do you want to strip them down for? When there's nothing wrong with them. And then more likely they're going to break down after.
So it sounds like it's a fairly easy process. Bring car to circuit, take out trailer, race.
Yeah, dirt cheap. Put petrol and check the oil and water, and that's my lot, really.
Yeah.
And tyre pressures.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's straightforward. Like even after a race, I just take it off, have a quick look around and put oil and water in it, or check it, and put petrol in it, and we go to the next race. And that's how I like it.
One of the things that points out is that with Sports 2000, one can race that way and have really good racing, or if one wants to fully embrace being like some of the more professional, bigger championships, you can strip your car down, play with it, and do all sorts of things. Because there are drivers who probably, if they didn't do that, they'd feel nervous getting in the car that it wasn't good enough. Whereas there's a whole group. I mean, your experience is 30, 40 years where you've built cars, prepared cars for other people. You have an eye to look around and see what's what, and then just enjoy the racing, and there's a difference.
Well, that's it, yeah. I want to go for a weekend and enjoy it, and that's it. I don't really want to get my hands oily, and if I have to, but it's not very often, because nothing really goes wrong. But the thing is, what I look at it, everybody goes around checking all nuts and bolts and stuff. But when you're a mechanic on the road, you tighten something up. You don't go and tell the bloke, oh, fetch it back in a couple of days, I'll check that bolt I put in there. So it's tight, so it should be tight. It shouldn't fall apart. Like, none of my bolts go slack, but I think everybody's just tweaking them. I think they're overstretching them all the time because they're checking them and playing around with them all the time. I don't know.
It sounds to me that it's the whole experience, a weekend away, the racing. It doesn't have to be onerous. It's more of an enjoyable experience.
That's it, yeah. Like when we used to race in the Welsh Championship, it was brilliant. All the Welsh boys would be there, we'd have some drinks and be great. But I don't know, it's different with the sports. But it's better now because Sean and Karen and Roger and Rachel, we tend to get together and it's quite nice company now. So it is better.
One of the other things I think that you've done is hill climbing. What did that involve?
It starts from a timing beam, and it's the quickest on that track then. And then you go back through a timing beam, and that's it. That's your times, like. But it's quick. It is quick. But it's totally different to Sports 2000 because we were using Haven tyres, and those tyres gripped as soon as you turn the wheel. And that's totally different because you can go a lot quicker, or they just used to grip plastic like it was.
I've noticed with like Peter Needham, I think it is, and Chris Snowden, for example, in the Pintos, they've both done hill climbing, and you can see from the start of the race, just as soon as the light's out, they're gone. Yeah. They're on it, whereas other people will take could be a lap, 2 laps to really warm up. And I think that's one of the differences of people who've done hill climbs is they have learnt to switch on 100%.
I'm not very good at qualifying, don't know why, but like everybody shoots out of the pits and they're away like, and I think, well, hang on, let's just warm the brakes up because brakes don't work straight away, right? Because the pads are so hard, they just don't work there until they warm, and the tyres don't really work. And what I find with the Sports 2000, you've got to get used to the tyres because the tyres tend to go over on the rim a bit. It does tend to think you're going to lose it, but you're not. Like,
yes, it's a bit of movement.
Yeah, it's a bit of movement. So it was totally different racing on circuits with the tyres, different tyres like this. That's the only thing I found was different. Because we were using Dunlops on the Radical, and then we was using Havens then on the sprint cars. Like. It is totally different, like. But the first meeting I did, I just had second-hand tyres, like, with the grass car in Ireland. I was really pleased. They couldn't get over it. I'd go up the straight sideways, virtually. and the people just parked, like, up the road.
So would I be right in guessing that sort of car control is one of the things that you really got, if you like, from the grass racing that you've been able to carry through all the other categories?
Oh, yeah. You're used to it, but you can't throw a slick tyre around, can you? That's the difference, because they stick, unless it's wet, but you don't throw them then, like, that's the thing. But you can control them, like, that's the difference. Because I know in the Welsh, like, a lot of the boys just couldn't stick it in the wet. They'd go off everywhere, and you used to beat them, man.
Being Welsh, Peter, I mean, the other question I have to ask is, have you ever done any rallying?
I have done a couple of rallies. I did a few night rallies with a Mini. I put one of my grass engines in it then, and we did alright the first rally and stuff. Then we got chucked out of the next one because they reckon we overtook a car on a junction. We didn't stop, which we did stop, but we just took off the inside of him so we could overtake him because we followed him all the way over the Black Mountains. It's a nightmare then following somebody and they won't let you by like. And then the last one I did, we were coming down this straight, and it's the first time I think I had it in fourth gear. So we was pulling fairish, and then we come into this slight left-hand bend. I put my foot on the brake, and the pedal just went nothing. And we found out after the pin had come out of the cylinder. How it come out, don't know, because of split pins in them. And he come out, and then I was doing not so bad. We was coming around the corner, and then all of a sudden there was tree stump, and we just flipped it up in the air. That was the last rally. But I have done rally stages with the grass car. Do you know Terry Brown?
No.
No, he's quite a fair racer. Well, he used to organise rally stages up at Sweetland. So we used to go up with the grass cars. He used to invite, and then Nasser, Ed Body of grass racing stopped him because he didn't have this and he didn't have that. I did alright up there. I won every time I went up there. It was quick. But you sort of driving down these sort of loose roads and stuff with the grass car. and there's a great big drop down the one side. You don't see that though. We did the one side, and I think Malcolm Wilson had been up there some like testing. And the times, we weren't far off his times. Like. That's how quick we were doing it. Like. But that was all just grass cars. And
would you go back to doing grass racing now?
No. It's just the grass racing. When I give up, I think I give up the right time. Because what it was, you go off the start line, red flags. And it was like that all the time. And you just didn't get a race virtually. No. And you only do 4 laps anyways. I just give up. And I think the money was starting to get into it a bit. And I just give it up. And I don't miss it one bit, to be honest. And the mud and everything.
Yes.
No, you used to get filthy like it was. Yeah, you couldn't see something nice like
that.
No, I don't miss it.
When you got to do the special saloons, what did you race then? You showed me another one that had 2.4 Cosworth in it.
2.3 Cosworth, that's the grass car that was.
Oh, that was the grass car.
Yeah, that was a special. That was highest class. You could go in the special. Right. That's the one I used for Ill-Timer first season. Yeah, that was the first one.
And is that the one you were telling me where the son has now bought the car?
That's it, yeah.
That's a lovely story, isn't it? I mean, you bought the car, someone, and now the son of that man has bought the car. He's rebuilding it so he can go race his dad's car, which is great.
I don't know, is he going to race it or what? Yeah, he's quite good.
And given that this is the final episode of 2022 on the podcast, Peter, what's been your highlights from this season's racing?
I think Alton Park. I don't know why, but that 50-minute race, I just enjoyed it so much. I was so relaxed in the car. And Peter that helps Josh and all that, he couldn't get over my times because he said he was virtually the same time every lap. I should have come in when the safety car came out.
Yes.
But no, I went another lap, so I lost a lot of time then.
I did the same. And so did Josh Law. We all followed the safety car and lost all that time. Yeah.
So we lost virtually all the time, like. Because then I had to go and overtake Roger again. I forget who else, huh? But I think I finished about 4th or 5th overall, which wasn't bad, like. But if I had come in on the safety car, I might have won it, like. It was that close. You don't know it. Safety cars. Like.
And if we're looking out for you next year, what colour is your car and what number is it?
My car is always blue and yellow. It's number 88.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Peter, and your conversation. It's lovely to get another perspective on driving and your approach to enjoying the whole experience. And it sounds like you just make it really easy.
Yeah, I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Clive.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that was the last Sports 2000 podcast for 2022. I hope you've enjoyed this series as much as I've enjoyed meeting the various guests I've spoken to this year. In closing out this season, I would like to thank a few of the Vital Club members who volunteer their time to help out at the Make the Weekends run so smoothly. Roger Donnan, Club Secretary, without whom the club wouldn't run so smoothly and professionally. The SRCC Committee, who ensure that important things like championship results, regulations, sponsorship and newsletters are updated and available to everyone. Terry, the clerk of the course, and Alan, the paddock coordinator. And finally, the Pink Ladies, Margaret, Rachel, Karen and Maureen, for tirelessly providing great sustenance for the club at each race meeting. Everyone plays a part in making sure that there's a real community feel to the Sports 2000 Championship. I look forward to connecting with you again in 2023.